meeting, and maybe one more member might show up and we might get a quorum. So let's just do some FYI stuff. I believe we have somebody from the chamber on the line here.
We have George Williams. George, would you give us your title so everyone can hear?
Sure, George Williams from the Alliance for Dade, and I'm chair of the board.
And let us know what's happening. By way of introduction, George has been chair now for something over a year, has done a wonderful job. Our membership in the Alliance is increasing steadily and getting good marks all around. So we're very happy to have a functioning Chamber of Commerce now, and the Alliance has got a lot of things it's done successfully and has got more things. And George, you may want to let us know, as part of your report, things that the Alliance is planning for the future. Go ahead.
Hey, will do. Hey, thanks for having me at the meeting. Sorry I couldn't be there, but we live on private roads where I'm at. We have no snow removal, and I live at the bottom of a hill that has about a 2% grade on it, so there's no way either today or tomorrow I'll probably get out of the house. But anyhow, don't worry, we got plenty of provisions. So right now the Alliance has 95 investors, which we're pretty proud of. I was shooting that we would have 100 by the end of the year, but we missed that goal. And Evan challenged me to sing on the air if we hit the 100. So we're going to have to come up with a different challenge, Evan. So we can work on that. Since the last time I was with you all, we did have the Dade Expo, the Jolly Holiday event at the high school. Just wanted to report on that very quickly. We had just under 100 exhibitors that day bring their wares in, and there were some nonprofit organizations that were represented there as well. And we had just shy of 1,400 people visit the high school that day to visit those exhibitors. So we're very pleased with the performance of the expo this year, and we're already working on plans for the one in 2022. We've done a couple ribbon cuttings here recently. We just got done last week doing McBride's books and Hands Up Ministry, the Hope House Cafe there that they operate. And I heard you all talking about food earlier. If you haven't gone to Hope House Cafe, please do so. They do a great lunch there, and the food is outstanding. So please go in and have some lunch there. We're planning a lunch and learn on February the 24th, which is a Thursday. We're going to have what we're calling it a community update. Ted Rumley, Alex Case, and Josh Engel from the school district will be there to give us insight into what's happening in Dade County. We're currently working on a program called Drugs Don't Work, which is a program where once we get our people trained, we can then get with companies. They can go through a certification process, and when they do that, they can apply for a reduction in their workers' comp expense. So probably in February, we'll roll that out as another advantage to being a member of the Alliance, as well as the health insurance and the 401k plans that we have available through the Alliance. We restarted last week our Alliance Live, which is where I interview companies and organizations in our area, and we just did our second one, started this week. We were down during the holidays and having trouble finding people that were willing to do interviews during that time period. That's about what's going on at the Alliance, just as a real quick update. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
What's the fee for the lunch and learn in February?
Don't know yet.
Okay, but we'll know soon enough, and we'll distribute that.
Yes, we'll be marketing it probably within the next week or two.
Now, are you still on schedule for the March one with the representatives?
We're looking more towards May, Evan. So we'll pull that date together. We're working on it.
Do we have another day at Expo coming up?
Yeah, at the end of the year, we're already have done some preliminary planning for the end of this year. So we're looking at maybe changing the date to the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So we're working through that right now. But yeah, we are planning on it, and we're putting the beginning plans together for this year.
Well, George Williams, thank you very much for being with us today.
Hey, thanks.
Where is this?
Peter.
Where is the
Peter has a
luncheon that
question.
he's talking about at the?
Where's the luncheon going to be? That's in February?
No, I'm talking about the restaurant or the cafe that's opened up.
It's just
No,
past the
we're going to
hospital
have it
on
at
the
Oh, it's in the
city.
building that says Hung Up Ministry.
right. I think.
Yeah, hand up.
Hung Up Ministry. It's in that building.
Yeah, we were asking, Peter's question is the location of the little restaurant that you mentioned that was good and you recommended that we try.
Yeah, it's right at the ministry. Absolutely. Yes.
Is it just open for lunch at this point?
I
10
think
to
so.
10 to 2.
They're not doing dinner, and the day we were there, they were not doing breakfast. So I think it's lunch only from about maybe 10:30 till 2.
And which days?
I think they're open every day but Sunday.
Monday through Friday, 10 to 2.
Well, we're getting
Terry
the
says
word. It's
Monday to
Monday
Friday.
through Friday.
10 to 2.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks again,
Hey,
George.
Sure. Thank you all. Have a good meeting.
Thank you.
One thing we have to add to the agenda, I don't see it on here, is that given it's the beginning of the year for our next meeting, we need to elect new officers. Aren't we supposed to do that every January?
Yes.
And so it's January, and I guess we're not having a meeting, so in February, we'll have to elect new officers for the IDA. So think about that. If you want to lobby the existing people to keep their jobs, you should do that too. So,
Our present officers, Peter is chair, Sharon is vice chair and treasurer, and Mr. Case, Larry Case is secretary. Those are the positions.
So I'm sure any of those people, including myself, would be willing to step down or
There's
step
also-
up, or whatever the case may be.
Our bylaws provide for non-member officers, so we can have, for example, a community liaison type person can be in that position, non-voting position, of course, but that is a possibility. So we can have more than the official chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary.
So add that to next time
Absolutely.
we meet.
Yep.
Since this is an information-only meeting, what information would you like to provide? William?
On our cash on hand figure, that's up a little bit from October 30, which is our most recent financial statement. Following the cash on hand statement, we have the November 30 statement. The agenda refers to financials from November 30 and December 31, but we haven't received a report from the accountant for December. But I would like everyone to take a look at the November financials, then we can vote on that next month. Then I had some information, if it's okay, Mr. Chair, for me to just run through
Yeah,
on
go ahead.
things that are happening here. Well, every year, the governor decides which counties in Georgia are placed into what are called tiers, 1 through 4, 4 being the richest and 1 being the poorest. Dade County for many years has been Tier 3. We were renewed at Tier 3 along with Catoosa County. Walker is a Tier 2. So the state evidently thinks that we're quite well
Tier
off.
2, and Chattooga is probably what, Tier
It's
1
a
or
2
2?
also. Yep.
Chattooga's 2?
Yep. So they think we have a lot of money.
Well, it's all relative.
That's right. Project Charter is the latest RFI, or request for information, that we've had. It's in the very earliest stages. When that came out, I sent information about our industrial park and our various capacities and the various selling points about Dade County and Trenton specifically. So we'll see. The company wants to build a 300,000 square foot building on 3 levels, so it would be 100,000 square foot footprint. And they anticipate hiring 40 employees. It's a company that manufactures batteries for automobiles, and they're based in Korea. So that potentially is a lot of money, although it's a relatively small number of employees. And given the current economics, that might be a good thing. We had some good news regarding Vanguard. Some of you who are listening may know, and everyone here, members of the IDA, certainly are familiar with the fact that Vanguard and other companies in our industrial park have had a difficult time attaining the numbers of employees that the state requires in order for to justify the state's investment in the Vanguard enterprise. And the good news is the State Department of Community Affairs came back this month in December and said, well, the company did reach its goal, even if through attrition they've come short. So the state has given a clean bill of health to Vanguard, and that's great news because we thought at the present time Vanguard is running a little short of its goals for employment.
And given that took place at our next meeting, we need to also release Vanguard from their obligation to us. As we said, we extended them their requirement for another year. But if they've met the requirement as far as the state is, we use the same criteria the state used. So next meeting, we should clear the books for them as well in terms of their obligation to us.
And I'll draw up a little resolution and I'll send that out in advance of our next meeting where we'll say basically that the county's requirements have been met, which is consistent with the state's decision. We have an issue, let's see. I wouldn't say an issue. The mayor has reported that the city intends to institute a new rate structure for wastewater in the industrial park, based not so much on the number of gallons, but rather on the materials that are flowing out of those various companies. So that would require metering at each site so the city knows what kind of effluent is coming out of each manufacturing facility. And that's something I think the city's going to be working on for the next 6 months. They'll have to get in touch with their legal counsel, and I think they're talking to Walker County and some other counties to see how other communities in the region are developing that kind of plan. Whatever the result is, it looks as though there may be somewhat of an increase in sewerage costs to the manufacturing companies here. We do have a number from the county roads department as to the cost of paving Vanguard Drive, and that's something that we have a grant that Peter Savelli was able to obtain for about $128,400. And that grant will expire in June of this year, 22, unless that road gets paved. So we want to make sure that we can do whatever we can. And one of the possibilities would be that the Industrial Development Authority might contribute some funds to the city from the IDA's construction fund. And there may be some other sources of funding, such as SPLOST, for that paving. We'd like to keep the cost as low as possible for the taxpayers in Trenton. At the same time, the county has committed, at least informally, to provide equipment and manpower to pave that road. So that will help to keep the cost as low as possible. At this point, it looks as though the materials will run about $195,000. So the remaining cost after the grant is about almost $67,000. And that's an estimate. It could be a little higher.
Yeah, we'll follow up with the mayor as a separate meeting on this topic.
Peter, do you want to announce that we have a new member?
We do. Larry Moore resigned.
The second, or the
The
member
first
second,
resigned. And Larry Moore the second has been appointed by the commission to replace him. And William has prepared a little package to bring him up to speed on training and et cetera. So I think you're going to do that tomorrow.
We've got it scheduled for tomorrow. Larry couldn't be here. There's a funeral today. And the state requires that our members all go through a training program. It's a minimum of 1 day. And the next one is coming up fairly soon, in just a few weeks. So I'll talk to Larry about attending that. There's a cost of $250. I don't imagine we're not here to
the
vote on
IDA will
anything.
pay for that.
Yeah, it's been customary that we pay for that. Our directors and officers insurance premium is due in 10 days.
Yeah, I just signed the check for that.
So we're good with that. Have never received anything from Integer as to whether or not they want to buy the 4.4 acres that they currently lease from the IDA. They didn't have to tell us. At one point they were thinking about putting in an option to buy that or have some kind of right of first refusal, but we haven't heard back. So for now, it's the status quo. It's just keeping it as a lease. Our pilots for 2021, and we bill in arrears for that, total about 48,000, so up from about 36,000 the previous year. So this is probably the high water mark in terms of pilot payments. Next year they'll drop somewhat because Integer's real estate comes out of the pilot program in 2022.
Can, I saw you talked about some bush hogging here. Can we get Billy to bush hog the west 20 acres? Is that possible? The other side needs it as well, but I guess since we don't own that anymore, will it?
Well, the prospective buyer for that said that they'd be happy. I offered to do it, and they said no, they'd be happy to do their own clearing. Billy did a pretty extensive bush hogging on the upper part of the 20 acres west of Vanguard Drive, but not all of it.
Yeah,
so
if we can get more of it done in this winter time, and also the farm road, if I can call it that, that's just north of the new solar site. We can get that cleared up too, because you can't drive back there without messing up your car or vehicle, whatever you're driving.
I'll talk to the county about that. They've given us a very attractive rate in the past to do that kind of work.
Yeah, we'll pay them.
And I'll get a bid on that. So I'll get two things: a bid for bush hogging the 20 acres, which is relevant because that's on the market now, and we're talking to both this Project Charter and also
that
private
farm road that goes back towards the creek.
And to expand on that, the farm road goes over the creek and then goes into a fair amount of acreage that's potentially developable acreage behind Vanguard. So we want to be able to have access to that.
Yeah. Anything else to cover?
I think those are the key things for the moment.
All right. Do you guys have anything, Evan?
I don't have any questions.
No. Robin?
I will share one other thing. Some time ago, Evan suggested, this is in the context of the fact that there is an IDA, a strip of land owned by the IDA that runs between two pieces of land that Trenton Pressing owns. And Trenton Pressing would very much like to take ownership so they can develop that as part of their parking lot, again, between two of their buildings. So Evan proposed, that seems like an interesting idea, but it would be great if we could trade them for a similar size piece of land. And I checked to see if the land south of their second building, that's the building downhill from their main building, might be available. And there's quite a bit of vacant land that is dry enough to build a roadway potentially. Not that we necessarily would, but there's enough land to do it. So I'm going to make a proposal that we trade a 50-foot strip of land that IDA owns for a 50-foot strip of land that Trenton Pressing owns. And that land would take us from the paved South Industrial Boulevard east to the creek. I don't know if there's any urgent need to do that, but in case we might need that in the future, we would have that right of way.
Okay, and the land that they want is at the top of the hill?
Yes,
It'd be just west of their parking lot?
that's exactly right. And it's actually part of their parking lot today.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's see the proposal. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, well, this unofficial meeting is over. So thank you, those that hung around. We appreciate it.